tell me I have to stop, but I want to show you something that's an important piece of information. So if you were to, let's say that this is the top of your head, and since I don't have a brown marker, I'll make the eyes blue. Okay? So this is looking at the top of your head, and here's your left eye, and here is your right eye. Okay? You got it? And here is a person in front of you. This is not in, scale. Thank you. Here is, in the middle of your head, here is your pituitary gland. And coming off of the pituitary gland, and here is the back of your, skull, or the back of your brain.
It's not big.
We could go there, but we only have 2.5 minutes. So coming off of this, of your eye, you have two major optical nerves, or two major bundles. One of them crosses at the pituitary, and the other goes straight back. When, it's not even, well, when you focus your eyes, when you converge your eyes, which you don't learn how to do until you learn how to talk, because when you learn how to talk, you start objectifying your world. Instead of being your world, you want to define and describe your world. So your world separates from you. And this difference between separation and oneness is controlled by the pituitary gland, the third eye portion of the pituitary gland. Separation is when you see something as an object. Oneness is when you see something as an extension of yourself. And the difference between that is carried in the two sets of optical nerves that run back from the two eyeballs. When you're doing, how many people have done your tantric yoga? When you're doing tantric yoga, how many people did an exercise where your eyes into eyes? So when you're eyes into eyes and you're sitting before your partner, your right eye is to go into their left eye, and your left eye is to go into their right eye. And usually you have trouble with that at the beginning because you're trying to figure out which eye to look at, and you can see, your eyes are jumping back and forth, but eventually your eyes will relax and they will go what's called parallel, which means now you're looking eyes into eyes, and if you have that experience, usually your partner starts to morph. And the surrounding information starts to blur, and all of a sudden your partner is no longer the person that you were looking at, but it may be a blank sheet with these eyes. It could be anything. You can go into anything with this, right? And this is a massive amount of data that you're downloading. 3 minutes is so accurate on an iPhone. Just throw them out. So, if you parallel your vision, you're looking eyes into eyes, what happens is that it's the exact opposite inside your brain. If your vision is parallel, the optical nerve that's being used by the primary portion of your vision is the crossing one, which activates the third eye portion of your pituitary gland, and all of a sudden your pituitary gland becomes a third eye. When your vision is converging, in other words, you're objectifying everything, you're creating what is called depth perception, you're experiencing the third dimension. Because the two dimensions that we began with was this way and this way, the third dimension is depth. And so converging your vision, when you learn how to talk and you learn how to walk, you start manipulating your world in 3 dimensions. When you then allow yourself to go back to that pre-verbal state, which is that parallel vision, all of a sudden you begin to access the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension. Dimensions that are about our unity rather than our separation. Because our separation is an illusion, but we use that illusion in order to motivate and manipulate our environment. The problem is that when we get trapped in that illusion of our separation, we begin to think that the separation is causing our situation. And the separation is not causing our situation, meaning the separated components are not causing our situation. The fact that we believe there is a separation is what is causing our situation, and we can even calibrate our situation to determine how much separation we are actually experiencing. Because that's all of your trials and tribulations are about anyway. They're just gauges on the dashboard of your life to tell you if you have a heartbreak, or if you have a this, or if you have a that, or if you have an overwhelming joy that you can't even handle, you know. It's just a gauge on the dashboard of your life telling you how much you are not in union, in yoga. And that's why, one of the reasons why Tantric Yoga and Venus Kriyas are so exquisitely powerful is that you have that mirror that's then being multiplied by the number of mirrors that are in the entire room. Yogi Bhajan said it's just a massive microchip. The floor of a Tantric yoga room is just a massive microchip using that Z energy, right? Cross, diagonal, cross, diagonal, cross, diagonal, cross, diagonal. Just this massive Z energy that's this multi-layered microchip that is taking everyone in the room and putting them through your system to clear it. Because everyone in the room is you. So that's the third eye, and I took 6 minutes, maybe 7. But that's the third eye. That is, we'll have questions, and so write them down and we'll have them all in a lump. So that's where your pituitary gland becomes a third eye. So what you have the option of doing is you have the option of concentrating your vision or converging your vision, and that gives you a triangulation. And any time that you have a triangle, if you have 2 angles and a common side, you can determine the depth, which is this one right here. And you do have the 2 angles because your brain knows how much your eyes are converging. My eyes are converging at a greater angle to see this than to see that post. So my brain will tell me, by knowing what the angle is, and my brain knows the distance between the center of my eyes, where the optical nerve is coming out of, knows that distance, knows the 2 common angles, can tell me exactly where it is. I will then reach out and pick it up accurately. And that's what depth perception is all about. That depth perception will then be released. You learn how to do this. You learn how to release that depth perception and come into a parallel vision, and all of a sudden now you're not seeing the person as a series or a collection of characteristics. You're seeing this person as just a concentration of energetics, and now instead of seeing the characteristics, you see the energetics. And the energetics are the aura and all of the other fields that are being converged into what's making up a person as a person, which all you are is just a concentration of prana, concentration of kashi, concentration of nothing.